won't be the death of me.
Hey guys, what's up? It's Lefris here, and I've gotten this request to do a deep dive on Death of Me, on how I made it. So here we go. I pulled up an old version. I really like the track. It's a fairly simple idea, but it took quite a long time. I think it's like about a few years for it to all piece together. But we'll go over the main idea. The track is released on my own label, so check that out. I'll take it back to the streets. And without further ado, let's just hop into it. Here's the old version. So I think the whole idea revolves around this synth. Okay, so that's the main synth. I think how I got it was through a Fred Again 10 tutorial. They made this synth from the guy that actually made the original sample that was used in that track. And I like the sound a lot. It's very analog. There's like a feel to it. So I started with that. If anyone wants, I can just link a video on how to make that synth sound. But I like going into the tutorials or remakes and then just seeing how a sound comes together and then playing around with it. And I came up with that lead, and then what followed was this build up. So quickly, the whole idea comes together. I think this is like one session. So it was me messing around with that synth and then being like, would be cool if it would drop into like a techno-y drop. And I like working with those LFO like kind of sounds. So I was experimenting with that. Is it this one? Yeah, you can also tell how unorganized all of my projects are from the get-go. I focus more on the whole idea rather than getting a specific sound right away. I don't care if it sounds a bit raw or unpolished. So yeah, forgive me for that, to each their own. But this sound, it's still also in the main track, and it's just, let me pull up the serum. Yeah, just a pretty simple wavetable, and then I'm automating here the volume, so it has that raspy sound. If I put it in one position, it goes. Pretty fast. Yeah, if you want to duplicate it, let me just go over it real quick, because you can steal it. I don't care. It's not gonna sound the same anyway. Because you're gonna use it different, and that's what I like about music. Everyone still has their own vision on stuff, and it's gonna sound different. Yeah, here's the matrix as well. Enjoy. And then it's just a very simple kick and drum and heads group. What I like for the track, I think I kept it original, is that I'm using these rides. Like they add a lot of energy from the get-go. Okay, so I pulled up the second, like the final project. This is version 10. Sometimes it takes me 40 versions, but it just depends how many times I save in between, honestly. Sometimes I'm a bit more cautious. Okay, so as you can tell, the whole song is 1,003 tracks. I'm missing some tracks. I hope it's not too bad. I think it's okay. Otherwise, I'm gonna find those. Yeah, but let's dive into it real quick. idea. As you can tell, what's different in this version is that I made it a bit more techno-y. I think I even made the drop sound a lot more open. There's a lot of low ends, but the mid-range is very airy and open. I like that a lot on this song. Leaves a lot of space for the vibes to come in. And in the clubs, when you play this out loud, it's both heavy, like there's a lot of bass, but at the same time, it's easier to talk to people because the mid-range frequencies are still there, so there's no masking, and you can just talk over it, which is quite funny because it feels a bit quiet and loud at the same time. Okay, so that since I bounced it out to audio, which I always try to do in later stages of my project. So this is the Serum synth, which I layered, I think, with an octave. Yeah, it's a bit for a bit more crunch on the whole layer. Added some bass steps on that. Altogether, I doubt you can even hear that much. Yeah, so it's like these two top layers are just for a bit of the texture there to get the impact right. Also layering crash on it. The rides, they look the same, so the drums are very basic. Yeah, before I move on, let me get your opinion on this. Let me change the camera to big. So the impact right, also layering crash on it. The rides, they look the same, so the drums are very basic. Yeah, before I move on, let me get your opinion on this. Let me change the camera to big. So the rides, should they be, and the crashes, should they be in the drum group at the stems? Should they be in FX group? I've heard people say it both ways. I like doing mine in the drum group, but I'm curious what you think. So let me know. Okay, let's move on. This is the Rumble group. So what I did, I took this sample. It's either from Loop Cloud or Splice. And this is what it sounds like normal. So that's the rumble that I took, and then I just cut everything out below 140-ish, some parts even more. And then I just EQ. I get very messy with my EQs. I just do what works. I did some limiting, and then I boosted up again. I think I tuned it as well to see what was in key. And then the most important part, I add a shaper box, which is, it seems to be off in this case. Let me see. Yeah, it seems to be off, so I probably turned it on right here. So even more EQ, limiter to cut it back, and then a shaper box. And just to duck when the kick hits. Even more EQ. So I really had to dial this sound in. It wasn't that easy to mix. And what I did, I put a sub-layer underneath. So that moves with the bass. Together it sounds like this now. It's still, yeah, it's not the best on its own, but in the context, it works very well. With the kick together, it sounds like this. And what makes this song so special, I put you have the normal kick, just a normal kick on every bar. But then I took that same kick and I think I pitched it. No, I didn't even pitch it. I might have pitched it, but then bounced it. And I tweaked it a bit to be a bit higher, put some dispersor and some widening on there. And now it sounds like this. And it's forming this polyrhythm with the kicks, and together it's pretty cool. And I think normally a rhythm like this would be too busy, but because the track is so open, I think this makes the track like this with the rumble together. It's very heavy already, and then with the drums to fill out the top. I think that's about it. Let's see, what's this? So that's some atmosphere in the background. It helps fill up all the empty spaces. And then of course we have the lead synth, and together that makes the whole job. Which is a sampled down part. Can I even hear the original? Let's try it. It's just something I was messing around with. Sounds a bit chorusy with some reverb and probably reverse as well. Some kind of bell. And I just took that sample. I like using those small samples, and then just made a synth out of it. And then put some Redux on RC20, which I love. I use a lot of RC20, especially with like the wobble, and I put it on stereo. I think it gives a very cool effect. So that's that. Which, it's a very weird fill, but I like it a lot because of that. Really breaks it up nicely. And then just the clap comes in. So that's fairly simple. This is off, but I'm missing it, so it doesn't matter. But yeah, that's basically the whole drop. And then I think here in the second part I also have some vocals. Let's get into those a bit deeper. I want to get into the full vocal at the end. Yeah, so this is basically a reverb throw. Just put a lot of reverb on the vocal and now put some delay on it, and it fills it up nicely. I'm surprised it has no sidechain on it. I probably would do that now. I probably missed that, but it sounds very good right now. So, you know, no rules. If it works, it works, and it doesn't bother me anymore. Where it gets a bit fuller, I put the string. Which is cool because normally it's a sustain. It's a very typical sound like the sustained strings, but I chopped them up a bit and it gives them this cool vibe together with this. But because this synth sound is so good, you don't need much. Like, honestly, this synth carries the track a lot, like all the verses. As you could hear in the first demo, it's such a prominent sound, very full. So that with the vocals together and some atmosphere ties it together very nicely. So also a takeaway, don't overcomplicate it. If you have a good sound and some nice vocals, then for the verses you got everything. Now let's get into the second drop. It doesn't differ too much, but I think I bounced out the whole synth and I made it a bit freakier, so it's now this. that up to give it a different rhythm. I think it's just the first part of the synth, honestly. Yeah. And now it's this rhythm, and what I did with it together. Is that I took this effects, go find the back. I think it's just a serum, or yeah, just a very simple alarm synth. So it's cool on its own, but chopping it off really gives it that eerie vibe. And what I did is pitch it all one semitone down near the end. And that's what I like a lot, the dissonance between the note and the note directly under it. Like if you have the piano here, if you have the piano roll, the C sounds, yeah, it's in C, and then you move to a B, then it's becoming very dissonant, especially if you play both notes over each other, or if there's some reverb of the previous note. It sounds very eerie. And for this like genre, it's a bit horror-y. It works very well. So it only strengthens that sound. And aside from that, I didn't change much. Maybe that a bit more comes in straight away, but that should be it.
Don't be the death of me.
The only thing that changes is that I'm taking part of the vocal, just don't look back, she's saying. So I took the back and then again put it through like some weird effects, some OTT, some distortion, delay, just mess around with that and then just dialed in. I can show you all the settings, but just mess around with it because that's what I do usually. And then when it sounds good, I don't touch it and I don't have a formula for it. I just mess around. It's not even in beat, this one. So that's it for the drop basically. It's the same fill. It's aside from the variation in the synth, there's not much else happening. So that was quite an easy B part, but still it took me a while to how to figure out how to make a second drop to the first idea, because I want to stay close to the original, but I don't want to make it too different, but also not a copy paste because that's just boring. Then you might as well make your song half the length, which is a cool idea though. So I might do that one day. Let's get into the verses. So we had the synth, I showed you already, and then beneath that, now I added this bass horn. Stock plugins coming in hot. I think this is just a template instrument. I don't know if I tweaked anything. It's a pretty nice sound. And then edit that on top. And then the strings come in again, like the sustained ones. It's a cheap trick to fill up a section, but it adds like very nicely into the high end. So yeah, if you're stuck, just put it in. I try not to go for the safe option sometimes, but this time, it works, and I'm not hating if it works, so it's perfect. Then with the vocal, let's see.
Out there, on your own, don't look back, don't go. Out there, on your own.
And now let's hear it dry. The vocalist is Silver Nova, also known as Alani. She's a great vocalist, check her out. What I did was, when I had the full idea that I showed you at the beginning, I sent it to her and I got some vocals back. This is what they sound like.
Out there, on your own, don't look back, don't go.
Which, I mean, it's cool, but I had some issues with the pacing on this. It felt like it took out some energy because she's leaving quite big spaces between. So if I were to play it like this, it would sound a bit like
out there on your own.
It doesn't fully work like that. It kind of works, but it takes out a lot of the speed. Becomes a bit slower. So I chopped it up to be like
out there on your own. Don't look back, don't go. Out there on your own.
It helps a lot with phrasing. So once I put these chops in, it clicked for me, and then the track got a lot of momentum. And then I did some basic processing, EQ, some delay, reverb. Just helps a lot. It's very basic. Some boba because I don't have Soothe on this Mac. And then on the group, some more reverb. And what I got is I got this main vocal, but I also got 2 nice doubles.
Out there on your own. Don't look back, don't let go.
It's very bare processing, so I just gated them, compressed them tiny bit, stock compressor as well, and then I send them to not even a reverb or delay. It's just very dry, which is cool because on the whole group there's the delay, so that's nice.
Out there on your own.
Just pan it left, right, and that just gives it a very full wide sound. And because the takes are not very perfect, the pitch isn't everywhere the same. Normally you would want it a bit more to get like a really nice double, but for this it was actually perfect to have it a bit off. So it gives this very eerie feeling as well, like very strange. So it's a nice double. You can steal this as well, but this is like a bit of a Lefris signature. I reverse the vocal, put reverb on it, and then reverse it back. And the vocals get so nice. So yeah, go try that out. Yeah. Then the final part, the build-up. I was pretty lazy with this build-up. I'm gonna admit it. I think I actually made a full serum patch for this. So that's just a soul wave that's rising gradually, putting a transgate on it. Kilohertz. Oh wait, let me put serum patch here. So you can see, I'm just automating this to go up. Am I doing anything else? No, sometimes I automate here as well. And then just some OTT, transgate, EQs. And I bounced it to have more control. Even put some sidechain on it, which I like. And it goes like this. So that. And then in pre-drop, I made this fill. Also not too technical, just chopped up some samples because I like having your own pre-drop sounds. I feel like most of the packs are overdone. You can still use them, it's easy for the workflow, but I just like making my own pre-drop sounds. And then adding this small clap. It gives it like a very nice vibe, especially with the reverse clap. So just reverse a clap, put reverb on the clap, flatten the whole thing, reverse it again, and it goes whoosh, and it pulls you in. Same as with the vocal. And yeah, that's the whole track, honestly. If there is any detail I need to get into, just let me know and I'll get into it afterwards. Also, let me know which song you would like to see after, because I actually enjoy doing these a lot. And yeah, I'm willing to share all the tricks. For a master, you see this whole big rack here. That was just something I did, but in the end, I just outsourced the whole thing to my boy Luke Holden. Go hit him up if you need masters. But he's my regular master guy now, and I feel like he has a much better ear and a much better studio for these kind of things. You get some producers that get a bit picky and be like, yeah, I can do my own masters. I know the technical stuff, which is fair. Like I can also get quite far. But I like giving away the master because at that point you stop tweaking the whole production. If I do the master as well, I will work on the master, then tweak something in the mix, tweak something in the composition, add sounds here and there. And if I send it to a master engineer, it just gives me this deadline like, okay, now I need to send it out. Then this guy goes in with fresh ears and he tells me if it's right for a master, if I need to tweak some things in the mix. And then the only thing I do is tweak those things. And then I send it back and then the track is done. So it helps me overcomplicate the whole process, endlessly tweak it. Yeah, I liked it a lot. So good suggestion to everyone. Again, Luke Holden, he's a great engineer. And yeah, check out his stuff as well. So that was this production tutorial. I hope you liked it and let me know what you want in the comments. Ciao, ciao.